Alright, so we continue our review lessons. They're simple, but really important. As usual, they start with my mind holds only what I think with God. My mind holds only what I think with God. And these today feel like they fit all together. The next one is, no one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. Which leads us to, I loose the world from all I thought it was. So we can go into the silence, knowing that we can't fail. Can't fail as we seek to reach the truth. We can't fail to loose the world from all we thought it was. So how's everyone doing this morning? Does the mind feel loosed from all we thought the world was?
My body does not feel loose at the moment. I seem to have a lot of tension in my neck this morning. It's not bad, but just when you said loose, I thought my neck definitely is not loose at the moment. But like Anne was sharing this morning, about the body and our diet at the moment, it seems to have changed. I can feel some changes in my own body as well, just like Anne was sharing. But it's good. I feel there's something good about it. I don't know what I haven't had milk for 3 weeks nearly. I'd already stopped that in Denia. And very little dairy at all. Cows and dairy is from a cow. So it's interesting. It's interesting what's going on at the moment. There's definitely preferences everything's just being turned on its head in a way. Feels really good. Really getting a different perspective on food and preferences. I think that I was definitely ready for it this time. Like even a few months ago, I wouldn't have been ready, I don't think. So I think there's been a major loosening, going back to that word, there's been a lot of loosening around preferences, especially in the last week, since we started this dal diet. So it feels good. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, any sort of rigid thoughts that we have in the mind will be washed, they'll be softened, be released.
Yeah, I know there's a line in the Course that I always think of when I see routines playing out. I never really thought it would apply to me with food, but Jesus says routines can become a god in their own right. And I guess food is, for me anyway, having certain things all of the time and having certain things available, even if you don't want them, at least you know they're available. Like there's a lot of routine in that you come to kind of rely on to feel secure. So yeah, it feels nice that's really taken a big shift and shift away from the ego, I guess, and towards God. Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, when we think that we're in charge of our own salvation, it's heavy. And in so many different ways, like you said, we have that belief. I know what's best. I know what I need. But the more we can let go of that, the more we start to feel that deeper happiness, the deeper freedom. Yeah, there's an expansiveness that we can come into.
Yeah, I've really felt it the last few days. There's been such a strong expansiveness, and I was using the word presence the last few days, like this, but yeah, I think expansiveness is even a better word. Yeah, it feels really good.
Yeah, I do not perceive my own best interests. It's kind of connected to all that. I think most of us, when we read that for the first time, we're maybe a little open to that possibility. Like, oh yeah, maybe I don't perceive my best interest in this one specific area. But to really get that it's about everything, I usually, take some multiple approaches to it. So yeah, it feels fitting, maybe too, that you're feeling some tension, even as we're talking about the loosening. It's like there's more, it's just like the next piece is coming up. Before we feel the looseness, usually it shows up as tension or unease or some holding on, some clinging.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, what are you feeling, Anne?
This feels a lot better than it looks. But this morning there was placing on the altar a lot of, this grumbles and this food stuff, and I just had the joy of feeling connected over the last couple of days, and it's been really, it doesn't matter that the body's going to be somewhere else. but it's not felt like that since I don't know what time, I don't know when it started really. And there was like some memories coming up of feeling really separated and very alone, lonely, not just alone, like lonely. And I think that's maybe a good thing to just let that up. But then I remembered something when I was with Gunter, him saying something about, you know, like these, you know, making fun really of women, you know, sharing, and then they'd be just crying all the time, and then they'd say, oh, and then they'd be just crying all the time, and I thought, that's my own self-judgment there, you know, it's like, I seem to do, just at the moment, lots and lots of memories coming up, and what was in my mind was, when I had my road accident, I think I was 22, and I was down in Cornwall, and my family were up in Manchester, and they came, you know, like to visit me in the first week, but then for the last 5 weeks that I was there, I was basically on my own. And I was in a small, just 4 of us in a ward, and 2 of us that were long-term sort of patients there. And just feeling this pity, you know, like, oh, why is she on her own? Why, you know, like, and the other people's parents coming sitting with me, you know, and then it was so painful to actually, the way that I was like on it was a newfangled thing anyway, that they were trying out, you know, instead of having your leg up in traction, it was like pulled straight, so to actually get on a bedpan, it was really difficult, so it was better not to go, and I used to like say I'd been and things like that, and they'd write it down, you know, it was, but I kind of like gave up a lot on food, and that carried on, and you know, I ended up real skinny for quite a long time. So all this comes up, you know, with the food thing, and yeah, the leaving. And the hospital thing relates back to when I was about 18 months old, and I'd burnt myself and I had to go in hospital, and parents weren't at that time allowed to stay with you, so I remember, that's my first memory actually of being injured and feeling the pain, not at the time but just slightly afterwards, but apparently I was inconsolable, you know, like that I'd been separated from my mum at that age, and absolutely inconsolable. I just would cry and cry and cry until she was there again the next day. And yeah, so it's, and at the moment people are talking about pain, and I've got such a pain which I get sometimes right at the bottom of my spine, and it's like I'm sitting around too much because I don't really know what to do, you know. Structure's sort of like not the same here, so all those like routines have gone, that I didn't know I was in, but I was, so it's like, yeah, it just feels, ooh. So
Yeah. I think it's all good, Anne. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to let go of all this stuckness and all that's in there. But I'm scared at the same time of something.
Yeah.
I don't feel the fear at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I think when that uncertainty about what to do comes in, that's the time to reach out to Matthew and talk about what feels right. But I think in this moment, it's really about just letting the feelings come through, and there are times where there's a lot of crying, there's a lot of tears.
That's what feels good, you know, that at least they're coming up and feels like a release of something. But I also feel kind of lightheaded and like a little bit spacey. Like not grounded at all in anything. So it's like...
Yeah. And I think kind of knowing what is on your plate, what's next to do, will help a little bit with that, some of that ungroundedness. If an emotion comes up and it doesn't seem to move through, it just sort of stays, that's another time where getting into the next step is helpful. Because we do want to feel the feelings, but we want to feel them to clear them, we want to feel them to unwind from them, and if they just are sort of spinning or cycling in us and just not seeming to undo, then joining with, again, Matthew probably is the first person to go to, just to kind of work through that or talk about it a bit or talk about practical things.
Yeah. Just feels like, something's starting to move. So I'm just a little bit uncertain about this feeling of being spacey and
And I know we'll be joining with you soon, so maybe once there's kind of a little bit more, some of the next few steps are a little more sorted in your mind, that might help with that too.
Thank you. It just feels okay for the moment.
Thank you. Any other sharings, anything else for the altar?
So just exposing this last night when the recording from yesterday's meeting was out, I felt like, oh, I'm gonna listen to this. And all the way through, I realized I was just a little, I had a kind of nervousness about when it came to my sharing yesterday. And then it was not there. And then I was like, whoa. And all the feelings that actually was up to me yesterday, and I got in touch with the beliefs underneath in the levels of mind, of being not wanted, being wrong, and suddenly I could see it was the same. It was the same feelings, and yeah. And I can see how much energy I use every second of the day to avoid this, to avoid feeling like that, and interpreting everything I perceive into that belief somehow. So after just looking at that and journaling on it, and I just say, wow, hey, I'm actually happy. I'm actually happy that this is brought up, and I guess it's gonna be right in my face, just to look at. Yeah, it somehow feels connected to this cat. It's here again. And actually, when I was doing the letters of mine with Anne, the cat was all over me. It was jump, and the day before it tried to jump on my lap, and I was like, no, no, don't get up here, no. And yeah, I actually had this. I got angry with it, and I perceived it being angry with me, trying to scratch me or something, and that brought up a lot of stuff. And then I was just like, yesterday, I was like, okay, I don't need to do anything. I can just allow it to do whatever it wants. Even though I was panically fearful when it jumped up in my lap and broke around my computer. It was just that. Yeah. Somehow it feels connected. I can't put words on it, but it feels connected somehow. Yeah. Yeah, allowing my feels, that cat. It's okay. This is kind of, thinking that everyone wants me to do. I have to heal my energy. I have to. It's expectations, and if I don't, I'm wrong. And no one wants to know me. Yeah, it's the thing. Yeah. So I welcome all of that up now.
Yeah. I also feel like the cat represents a part of you. And before you were saying no to the cat, but there's a reflection of saying no to something inside yourself. And now you're allowing the cat to, be on your lap or by your computer. It's like there's a deeper allowing of this part of you.
Oh yeah, when you say that, it's like this cat it's not that old, and it's so playful and it's so jolly and it's just enjoying itself, and it's poo, and it's so curious and it's not holding back, and it's, so yeah, that resonates. That really resonates. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. think this is, kind of for everyone, this thought of like, if there's something you're resisting or you're pushing against, or that it probably just needs to be allowed. It needs to be allowed to come up, to metaphorically walk on you in the way that you haven't let it do that before. To move through you.
Yeah.
You might get curious, what is this cat? What is this part of me that I haven't been okay with?
Yeah, I was actually around 6 years old when I started developing all this energy. So it is about childhood, curiosity, allowing myself to just explore.
Well, I think there's a song called "The Cat Came Back."
On what?
The cat came back. So the cat is coming back. Well, whatever the cat is, again, for each of us. But yeah, it's that curiosity, that playfulness, that childlike nature for you, Solveig. And yeah, what other parts within are we open to welcoming rather than pushing against?
Yeah, and even allowing my fear and my future thoughts of having to scratch for a week or whatever, and jumps up all of that. Just allowing, just even speaking now, even telling the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not being embarrassed about that part.
Yeah, it feels really good. Okay. So just feeling the oh, there's the cat.
Cat agrees. Go on then. Go on, Miracle.
Yeah, we named it Miracle.
That's beautiful. Yeah, welcome the miracle. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll just shift over to Laurie and Gareth. But again, thank you guys. Yeah, how are you guys doing, Laurie and Gareth?
We're both sitting here going, I'm alright, are you alright? And I'm alright, you speak, you unmute. Yeah, just trying to be with the lesson. Yeah. Just watching things that come in to try and knock me out of that, but yeah, it's one of the lessons I like where it says, it's the wording of it, the issue is me. You can't fail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and always some sort of impatience that wants to come in to take me out. So I just want to put that on the altar really, again, impatience. Yeah.
the only thing that's coming to mind is when you and Jenny come. The day before when we was talking about telling the kids about Málaga, and then in that moment it was so clear in my mind that Ava would be fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
It was so clear. I was sat there and it was just, yeah, I know she's not going to kick off. I know it's not going to be like before. It was one of the clearest spots I've had in a while.
Nice.
And then just watching that play out, I think Laura had a little conversation with her and she was alright with it. She went and checked her diary to see if she could come. Yeah, it was just like a miracle moment where, yeah, I just knew she wouldn't kick off. Yeah, I don't know whether it felt reassuring to have these two there and we talked through it. And it was like so apparent in my mind that, yeah, it's not going to be anything like it was before. So I'll probably just lean more into that. So, yeah, just leaning more into that positive side of, yeah, to change my mind, it seems to play out as my mind's playing out.
Yeah. So you're seeing the deepening of trust.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just so clear. It was just so clear. And I think when you went, I said to Laura, it'll be fine. I just know in my mind it's going to be fine. Even though there was still like a bit of fear underneath it, it was like, yeah, no, it's going to be alright. It's going to play out alright. And it kind of has up to now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably just wanted to sit more in that, like, it'll play out alright. Rather than thinking it'll be like it was before.
Yeah, I think you welcomed the cat too. So the miracle's there with you guys.
Yeah. I think everybody needs a cat called Miracle to welcome.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I feel just Gareth sharing then, because she hasn't actually got back to us to say she's prepared to miss these days of school yet. Yeah, and just I want to put that on the altar. The doubt thoughts come in even just as Gareth was sharing, and for me it's the same thing. It's the patience to just, yeah. What I want to do is like just dive right in and get it all sorted out. We know what we're doing. And it feels like I'm constantly being called to do the opposite of that, which is just relax in the moment and feel into when the next bit needs to be discussed, or if that person's available mentally, you know. Yeah, my state of mind approaching those, and that I find like sometimes drives me mad. Drives me mad. Oh. I just wanted to put, yeah, those doubt thoughts came in with like this. It's not clear. The next step isn't clear because I'm kind of waiting now for her to see if she's willing to miss the exams, or you know. And knowing that if I do wait and I relax into that, it will all run smooth. But it's not about getting it done. It's that feeling. It's never about getting it done. It's always. I feel impatient. Yeah, that's it.
That's great. As you share, I get this thought of like being in a river and just letting the river carry you downstream. It's not that you don't maybe ever move or do anything, you know, sometimes you might paddle a little this way or a little that way, but you don't have to, you don't have to fight, you don't have to like get there quicker or fight against the current, or there's a kind of water ride called the Lazy River I've been on, where you float in a tube and it just carries you downstream. It's very, and again,
it's
maybe.
funny. It's funny.
like heaven.
It's funny you should say that. We went to the waterfalls yesterday, and we got in this part of it, and you can swim in it. It's not deep, but then it kind of takes you off, so you're not in control. You just kind of, Laurie flew off, and I flew off behind her. Just as you say that, I'm just thinking back to yesterday. It was just letting go yesterday, and the river just took us down in.
Yeah, that is such a good analogy, because then I panicked at one point and I was shouting, Gareth, knowing that he couldn't do anything. But in that minute, I scraped on the leg on the rock.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's like... I didn't even think of it like that, but yeah, just to relax and not try and cling.
Yeah, just feel like now, just letting go of the fear of even bringing it up with Vega. It'd be helpful. I feel like if I'm going into it with fear, it's just going to be reflected back. It'll be like getting in the river. If I'm scared of letting go in the river and floating off, see where we end up. I probably want to go into it more open.
Yeah.
Not fear the conversation with them.
And not look at it as the other way around, because she was in a right grump yesterday when she came home from school, and me and Gareth just looked at each other like no, that was not the time. But knowing that is our mind as well. That's the hard, that's fun, yeah. Just patience, please, patience. I want to tap into that.
It's perfect hearing you talk about that, watching Sweet Cat with Peter and Solveig. Yeah. It's like you don't really have to try. Yeah. It's yeah. I feel what you're saying. It's just to keep being present, being allowing, let yourself listen and follow. Yeah. So beautiful. How are you doing, Solveig?
Wow, this is really amazing. I just looked at all the fear, and suddenly I could see this cat. It was just, it was really spinning, and it was just putting his head into it. It was just so loving. So soft. Yeah. This is something about danger. Yeah, something's dangerous. And how can I see this soft, curious, loving cat as this monster that's gonna kill me?
Yeah, and I think it's good, that you're letting the thoughts and fears be felt, but I think I just feel to tell you to stay with the love, stay with the love.
I felt the love through the yeah, instead of this attack, it's really feeling it's attacking me, and that's what I felt. see that it didn't want to hurt me. It didn't want to hurt me.